This is Susie. She can say how do you do. Say how do you do, Susie.
Kay Kendall's husband kept her fatal diagnosis a secret from her, but in the end, he discovered she might have been keeping an even bigger secret all along. Kay Kendall was the 1950s British starlet who made a big splash in Hollywood with Les Girls. Little did she know that her husband, Rex Harrison, was keeping a terrible secret from her, one that would cost her career and her life. Justine Kay Kendall McCarthy got her start far from Hollywood in the stately Stanley House in Withersea, England. Born in May of 1927 in the coastal resort town, her father was Terence "Terry" McCarthy, but his vaudeville audiences knew him better as Terry Kendall. Show business was the family business. Terry wasn't the only member of Kay's family with a name in show business. In fact, he wasn't even the most famous one. Her paternal grandmother, Marie Kendall, was the legendary music hall comedian and actress. With 50 years of stage experience, Marie gave her granddaughter a legacy to live up to. Growing up, despite her family's strong show business background, Kay's childhood was filled with instability. She bounced around from school to school, finally ending up at Lydia Kayasht Dancing Academy in London. That appears to be where her talents finally came through. By the time she was 12, Kendall was already mature for her age. According to the best sources, she looked far older than her pre-teen years. All of that translated to her very first job as a chorus girl and a prestigious place as a student at the Rank Charm School, where she was primed for superstardom. By the time she was 19, under the tutelage of the Rank organisation, Kendall had featured in multiple bit parts in British films. But she was no shrinking wallflower or irrelevant extra. She had distinguished herself, and the Rank organisation thought it was time to give the budding starlet her first starring role. They decided to cast her in the highly anticipated film London Town. If the film was successful, then Rank agreed to sign Kendall to a 5-year contract that would have propelled her to the heights of British cinema. But that didn't happen. Rumour has it that the executives at the Rank organisation weren't the only ones betting big on Kendall's London Town debut. The producers of the iconic 1949 film Blue Lagoon were allegedly ready to offer Kendall the lead role if London Town proved successful.
He's a comedian.
A comedian? You don't say.
When the film hit theatres, Kendall was overjoyed to see her name given prominent billing. But that excitement quickly faded to horror. The film's astronomical production budget made it virtually impossible for it to just break even. Far from launching Kendall into stardom, London Town sank her career. Critics variously described the film as tacky and tasteless, while 1946 audiences reacted to it with little more than a shrug. All of that translated to a historically ignominious film debut for Kendall. After the curtains closed on London Town, not only had the film failed to earn back its money, it lost a fortune and has since gone down as one of the most notorious flops in the history of British cinema. Kendall took the film's failure particularly hard. In anticipation of the film's release, she had gotten the star treatment. But after the film hit theatres, she could barely show her face in public. As she later recalled, there were no more bazaars to open, no more premieres, no more autographs. She was just about ready to forget about films altogether. Despite her undeniable on-screen charisma, Kay Kendall had never been a talented dancer, far less a great singer. So, after the embarrassment of London Town, she swore off of show business altogether. She wouldn't return to the big screen for another 4 years. And even then, she would have a lot to prove and a long way back to the top. With the stain of London Town still on her filmography, she had to take whatever roles she could get. That included smaller appearances in films such as Happy Go Lovely and Lady Godiva Rides Again. Slowly but surely, Kendall began making her way back to the top of the British film industry. She took on multiple roles as the beautiful arm piece of leading males, and not just on screen. She cleverly kept her name in the tabloids by stringing together a list of high-profile romances. Sometime early in her career, Kendall was in a relationship with Hollywood royalty, or at least the child of Hollywood royalty. For years, she was dating the actor Sidney Chaplin, the son of the legendary Charlie Chaplin. Allegedly, Kendall had numerous romantic encounters with an unnamed Swedish prince, but why should she settle for a prince when she could have a would-be king? Various reports linked her romantically to none other than Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. If the rumours were true, Kendall could have bagged any prince from England to Russia, but she also had a thing for something approaching the common man. She famously had an affair with James Sainsbury, heir to the grocery fortune. After paying her dues, Kendall's acting career was getting back on track. She had a prominent role in the 1952 British drama It Started in Paradise. Even though her name didn't appear on the marquee, her standout performance landed her a contract with the Rank organisation. It also landed her the opportunity of a lifetime. Her appearance in It Started in Paradise saw her land her first marquee role since the disaster of London Town. She starred alongside Dinah Sheridan and John Gregson in the 1953 British comedy Genevieve. The role permitted her to show off her unique talents, blending funny and flirty into an irresistible combination.
Are you sure you don't want to dance more?
No, not if you don't mind. I'm afraid I'm not very good at it.
No, you're not. Still, you're better than Ambrose.
Her unique ability to blend comedy and coquettishness placed her in the rare company of film pioneers such as Claudette Colbert. But not everyone loved her risque sense of humour.
I had no right to interfere.
In reviewing Genevieve, the Catholic Times used words like unsavoury and smut to describe Kendall's performance. Genevieve was a hit with audiences and reignited Kendall's career. Moviegoers couldn't get enough of her self-deprecating sense of humour, as she often threw aside ladylike behaviour for pratfalls and physical comedy. Her charms might have worked too well on some people.
It would have to be purely a business arrangement.
Kendall owed much of her renewed success to Genevieve director Henry Cornelius, but she wasn't exactly his biggest fan. Allegedly, Cornelius was so predatory on the set of the film that she had to wear a whistle around her neck in the off chance that she was ever alone with him. Good men were hard to come by, and so were good roles. Despite her breakout success with Genevieve, she still wasn't able to make it out of the British film industry into Hollywood. As she was still under contract with the Rank organisation, she was stuck making whichever B films the studio decided to crank out. She followed Genevieve with another role in a ponderous drama called The Square Ring. While she wasn't able to show off her comedic chops, the real problem wasn't with the script, it was with the wardrobe. Kendall complained that costuming put her in a wig that made her look like Danny Kaye in drag. You might need to Google that one. Following the awkward drama, she managed to find herself back in a comedy. This time she had a marquee role in 1954's Doctor in the House, just one instalment in a successful comedy series. But she was still under the thumb of the Rank organisation. With her career finally back on track, Kendall was more cautious about the roles she accepted. Even though she was under contract, she regularly refused roles that she believed had the potential to set her back again. In 1955, she landed another starring role in a hit film, The Constant Husband. Behind the scenes, she struck up an affair with her co-star, Rex Harrison. There was just one problem. In 1955, Kendall was still one of film's most eligible bachelorettes, but her new beau, Harrison, was no bachelor. Even as their affair heated up, Harrison remained married to the actress Lily Palmer. The curious love triangle would prove to be fateful for Kendall. For exclusive perks like early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and to have your say on future content, consider becoming a Factinate member. On top of that, your support helps keep the channel going. Click the link in the description for more details. She followed up her appearance in The Constant Husband with her Hollywood debut. Starring alongside the likes of Gene Kelly and Mitzi Gaynor, she had a lead role in George Cukor's 1957 musical comedy Les Girls. The big budget flick played right into Kendall's strengths. It was a Hollywood debut unlike any other. Cukor's Les Girls was only the second big budget film that Kendall starred in, and sadly her losing streak with big budget productions kept going. Despite being a hit with audiences and critics alike, Les Girls failed to break even at the box office, but that didn't stop people from singing Kendall's praises. British audiences had already fallen in love with her unique, funny and flirty shtick, but when American audiences finally saw her on the big screen for the first time, they were dazzled. Even alongside the likes of Gene Kelly, Kendall's performance was all audiences could talk about. Even if Les Girls failed to break even at the box office, it was a massive success for Kendall. She snagged the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy in 1958. Around the time of Les Girls, Kendall appears to have shifted her focus from the big screen to her beau, Rex Harrison. After years of carrying on their affair, Harrison had all but left his wife for Kendall. However, she wanted to make it official. By the late 1950s, their affair was an open secret, mostly because of Kendall's rather public displays. Allegedly, whenever the topic of marriage came up, she would become irate, even in public. The affair might have fizzled out as quickly as it started, had it not been for a fateful doctor's appointment. In early 1957, Kendall's doctor called Harrison and asked him to come in for a conversation. The unusual request led to one of Hollywood's most dramatic and unexpected plot twists. Kendall had long suffered from what she believed to be anemia. However, after one of her regular blood tests, her doctor found something that was most irregular. When her doctor called Harrison into his office, that was the news that he gave him. Kendall had leukemia, and not long to live. Harrison was stunned at the news, and even more stunned that the doctor chose to tell him first. The doctor asked if Kendall had a family. Harrison replied that Kendall only had a sister, Kim, but no family that she cared about. The doctor instructed Harrison that he was now responsible for Kendall's care, and above all, that he was not to tell her of her diagnosis. Inexplicably, Harrison agreed to keep Kay's terminal leukemia diagnosis from her. Shortly after learning the news, Harrison divorced Palmer and married Kendall. But lurking under his wedding vows was the one big lie he wouldn't tell her. As her leukemia rapidly progressed, she began experiencing even more dizzy spells. Harrison, channeling all of his acting prowess into deceiving his wife, continued to tell her that it was all the result of her anemia. Even as she underwent blood transfusions, Harrison kept the lie to himself, or at least mostly to himself. To help calm his nerves, he confided in Dirk Bogarde, Kendall's best friend. Bogarde and Kendall had met on the set of one of her first successful films in 1954 and had been close ever since. Bogarde, however, began to make a stunning realisation. Kendall had always put a brave face on her illness and never seemed to believe it was dire, but Bogarde also knew what a good actress she was. He soon became convinced that Harrison wasn't the only one keeping a secret. He believed that Kendall was well aware of her true medical condition. He thought that maybe she was in denial, unable to face the truth, or perhaps Kendall was keeping her diagnosis secret from Harrison to spare his feelings. In late 1959, at just 32 years of age, Kay Kendall drew her final breath. Shortly after her death, her final film, Once More with Feeling, hit theatres and she dazzled audiences for the last time from beyond the grave. Sadly, her fans were left wondering what might have been. Kendall's star was just rising again before her terminal illness snuffed out her light once and for all. However, her legacy as the elegant eccentric lives on in cinema. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. If you want a say in who we cover next, join our membership program through the link in the description. for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.